What is up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Merry Christmas! Seeing as how I probably won't get another chance to do one of these before Christmas actually hits. Hope everybody out there has a great Christmas. Get stuff you need, get stuff you want, cool stuff like that. Really, hope y'all do well. I made a few upgrades. Well, one upgrade, actually. But, as you can see, much clearer video. I got rid of that crappy ass webcam and bought a plain old Logitech 720, and I'm already noticing a hell of a difference in the quality, so pretty happy about that one. Anyway, I know I promised y'all a music blog, and it's coming, but first and foremost, I had to address an issue. Now, about a week ago, well, this is Thursday night, about a week ago, in fact, exactly a week ago, roughly around this time, Star Wars, The Last Jedi hit movie theaters. I went and saw it at the midnight show on Thursday, because, what's the point of going to an early premiere if it's not at midnight? I mean, sure, you get the people like, oh, I can go see it at 6 o'clock, but I would just rather wait and go to the midnight show. Plus, being third shift, I get to hang out with my girlfriend, then go to the movie around 10:30, get to the theater and whatnot. It works out better for me to go to a midnight show, and I love them. I love midnight shows. I wish there were midnight shows more often than just premiere nights of movies. But, so, Star Wars came out, and wow, I did not think this movie would be as polarizing as it has been. I went and saw it. I personally loved everything about the film. I will address those issues in a bit, but wow, like reading some of the fan reviews and all that, people are really trashing it. I mean, 56% on Rotten Tomatoes of an audience score? I don't understand. Like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I was born in 77, Star Wars came out in 77. Star Wars has been a huge part of my life. So, I figure I'm pretty good judge on what's good Star Wars and what isn't good Star Wars. And the best Star Wars stuff is the stuff that tries to make it so we can have more Star Wars stuff. I mean, Star Wars, first one, A New Hope, was really good. And then Empire Strikes Back, up the game like nobody's business. Return of the Jedi couldn't live up to the hype. But, I mean, Jedi's still a good film, but I'm still going to maintain Empire was the greatest of the original trilogy. Then there was the atrocities of the prequels, and, ooh, yeah, I mean, visuals were cool, some of the characters were cool, but ultimately, ouch, ooh, they were not really great movies. Of the prequel trilogy, the only one that I actually thought felt like a Star Wars film was The Revenge of the Sith, and that was how I feel about that. Finally felt like I was actually watching a Star Wars film and not some BS made-up universe to attach to the Star Wars trilogy, even though supposedly this stuff was written years before it got finished and all that. But, Lucas is a liar. Come on now. Clearly, he added a bunch of stuff and changed a bunch of stuff from what his original vision was into what it became. Not going to address that issue. Going to leave it at that. So, a couple years back, Force Awakens hit the theaters, and I went and saw it. Again, midnight showing. Absolutely loved it. It felt great to be experiencing a Star Wars movie again. And loved it. The look, the feel, everything felt right. Like, this was a Star Wars movie. And J.J. Abrams just did an amazing job with that. And then, last year, Rogue One hit. And wow, another, this also feels like a Star Wars movie. Made me very happy. Rogue One was a great, being pretty much a direct prequel to A New Hope, made Rogue One that much better. I mean, the aesthetic was identical. They did such a good job at recapturing the magic. Now, with The Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams said, hey, remember Star Wars? Well, guess what? This is what's going on 30 years later. Are you happy to be back? We got this stuff going on. We got Rey, who could be a new Jedi, and we got Luke, kind of not around at the moment, and, we got Han kind of doing this thing, and we got this bad guy, this Kylo Ren guy, who's pretty shady, not a cool dude at all, and, he needs to be stopped, and Of course, then you discover who Kylo is. Not going to spoil it for those that have not seen The Force Awakens. Discover who Kylo is, his relevance to the story. You discover who Rey is, her relevance to the story. Although, to be fair, Rey's relevance to the story is, she's basically this generation's new Luke Skywalker, essentially. But, I mean, she's actually kind of a lot cooler than Luke Skywalker was. Way less whiny. But, anyway, enough of that. So Force Awakens brought us back into the fold of Star Wars. Made us feel happy we were home, and, it's good to see everything's back to the way it was. But unfortunately, that was part of the problem. Everything was back to the way it was. These movies take place 30 years later, and for some reason, we still have a conflict between what would be rebels and Emperor and the Empire. I mean, granted, you change it. You call the Republic, which Republic doesn't fare so well in Force Awakens. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but the Republic, and then you have the First Order, which is like the First Order of the Imperial troops. They never really go into a huge explanation of it, but the First Order is essentially the new Imperial Empire, and they've got a pretty sizable army, and you got the old Rebel Alliance, which is now the government and the governing body, the Republic, if you will, and for some reason, nothing has changed. It has been 30 years, and there's still a conflict going on between the same two factions. Clearly, whatever's been going on for the last 30 years didn't work. And that's where I feel we're brought into with the Last Jedi. It brings us into this world where, okay, so far, we've had a little bit of success against these guys, but ultimately they owned us. So, we're going to try to retaliate and come back and see what we can do about things. And, they're relying on old tricks. They're like, oh, well, Luke will train a new Jedi to rise up and take, Kylo Ren and his armor, his army and all that. Or Leia will lead us into victory, using the same techniques for 30 years that have kept the conflict going for 30 years. The way I feel is that with this movie, with The Last Jedi, it shows us that the old ways aren't working. It has been 30 years, and there's still a conflict. So, clearly, something new needs to happen. What you see in The Last Jedi is more examples of, alright, something new needs to happen. The old ways aren't working. The movie, it's true. I mean, they're not working. And if you want a franchise to continue, you cannot default back to the same formula every movie. It's just not going to end well. So, I feel The Last Jedi does what it needs to do. It is an important film in the franchise. Without this movie turning out the way it does, how would we continue into the future? The future would be more of the same. No new ground would be broken. And that annoys me with new shows, new takes on old shows, okay? People, and I understand, nostalgia. You want your favorite things. I mean, Star Trek is a prime example of that. Every time a new Star Trek series starts, people are complaining, and especially with the last two, Enterprise. Nobody liked Enterprise, but Enterprise was an amazing show. But it was more thing. But then, all of a sudden, Star Trek Discovery comes out, and Star Trek Discovery is all new. They're taking Star Trek to a place it's never been. And that's necessary if you want to continue into the future, in my opinion. It's nice to see a fresh new take on things. And that's what I feel The Last Jedi brings to the Star Wars franchise. It shows us old things aren't working. All these new things are set in place. Let's get this back. Let's get back on track and try something a little different. Change it up. Shake it up. The Last Jedi is a very important film in the Star Wars franchise. Because, I mean, honestly, if the trilogy plays out the same way, always, adventure starts in the first one, big problem, big twist, dark, dismal, second one, and then finally, final resolution, conflict in the third one, that's going to be a very repetitive formula. It's going to continue on, and, I mean, a lot of people aren't going to care. I mean, how many Star Trek movies came out before people stopped, going to see them until they rebooted them. I mean, the last 2 or 3 Star Trek The Next Generation films, well, the last 2, I believe, Insurrection and Nemesis, didn't really do nearly as well as a lot of the earlier films. So you need to change a franchise every now and then if you want it to continue. And I feel The Last Jedi brings the franchise a new life. It breathes new life into the franchise. It says, alright, these are the old ways. They gotta go so that these new ways can try, and give it a shot. And maybe this new way will work out. And that's how I feel The Last Jedi is. I feel it is a very pivotal moment for the Star Wars franchise, depending on how Abrams takes the third part of this new trilogy. We'll see what else is going to happen. But Disney was all so impressed with Rian Johnson's job on The Last Jedi, they've already given him the next Star Wars trilogy. They plan on doing another trilogy with episodes like 10, 11, 12, and they've already given them to the guy who wrote and directed Last Jedi. So Disney's clearly happy with his work. I'm happy with his work. And I just feel that people that are complaining about it, it's dark, it's dismal, it doesn't feel right. Did you not see Empire? I mean, seriously. Empire was one of the darkest chapters in Star Wars, and it's the greatest one of them to this point. I mean, Last Jedi does what it needs to do. It's very well performed, very well written, the visuals are amazing. I mean, there's a lot of good chemistry between all the characters. Sure, some of the things don't go as planned. As a matter of fact, one of the lines spoken by the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is, "This isn't going to go the way you think it is." And it's true. It doesn't go the way you think it is. And that's what makes the movie so good. You think you know what's going to happen, and you're wrong. And you're wrong again. And you're wrong again. And all I can think of is that's why people are mad. Because they think they have it figured out, and they're wrong. And therefore, they're all butthurt about it. And I'm sorry. You need to change things up every now and then. Like, you need to breathe new life into a franchise. You can't just keep following the same formula. You can't have 60-some-year-old Luke Skywalker leading, a charge to defeat, Kylo Ren, who's like half his age and 3 times as sinister. You can't do that. Luke's not going to be able to hold a candle. It's much like Obi-Wan wasn't able to take out, Darth Vader in The New Hope. I mean, seriously, it's how it works. The old Jedi Masters pass the torch on to the young Jedi. It's how things work. And I know another complaint was the whole not really giving an origin of General Snoke, and I'm not going to speak too much on it, but you don't get much on General Snoke, but I believe that also has symbolism in it. You don't get much on General Snoke because guess what? This movie's not about General Snoke. The dark side of this movie is about Kylo Ren. It's just what it is. So that's why you don't get much of an origin on Snoke. And honestly, like I said, I wouldn't say I've given away any spoilers per se. I've touched on a few points here and there. I haven't actually given away a lot of the details of the movie, and I don't plan on it. But I just feel that everybody who's complaining about it needs to take a breath, relax, and go, oh, okay, we're trying to make Star Wars last longer. Okay, I guess I should be okay with it. But I know people aren't because, let's face it, people still want cardboard boxes and Christmas lights for a Star Trek show. Okay? That's what people still want these days. I understand nostalgia. I do. But I also want things new and exciting. So, yeah. There we go with that. So, those are my opinions on Star Wars The Last Jedi. That was my first camera. First edition with the new camera. And I promise the music blog is coming soon. I just really felt I needed to address Star Wars The Last Jedi first. Anyway, that's all I got for right now, folks. I am going to go make myself some food, get dressed, and get ready to go to work. So, I will talk to you all later.